Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to make an old-fashioned Christmas recipe. This is so old-fashioned that, previous versions, and there were several because it was quite popular a very long time ago, used to use a double boiler, right? So I changed it up a bit for my own tastes, and it came out really good. But then I was thinking, it's like so much work, and who has a double boiler, right? Then I realized when these cookbooks were written in the 50s, they didn't have microwaves. So I figured I'd try a microwave, and it worked like a charm. So that's what we're going to do today. I got a couple of bowls here, and the ingredients are quite simple. Here's the list. First thing I like to do is measure the coconut and get that off the counter. So, there's no set amount for this because depending on how much coconut you like on them and how hard you push it in is going to depend on whether you use like a third or a half a cup. I just put usually around a half. I'll just set that aside. Now, this is the mixing bowl I'm going to use because I did try it in the small one, but it just goes all over the counter. So you will have to transfer this, but it's really worth doing that. So get the dry stuff in first. And because this is a cookie recipe, it is not precise. There is no need to level off your cups or anything like that. So 2/3 of a cup almond flour. This is actually fairly easy to get now, and pretty reasonable too. Cornstarch. Yeah, I find keeping the paper towel to wipe off between measurements is just the fastest, easiest thing to do. That way you don't cross-mix ingredients. And I always do the cocoa powder last because it makes a bit of a mess. If you can, do get a higher quality cocoa powder because the cookies will simply taste better. So just get a spatula and combine these until the mixture looks even and there's no lumps. And in the old cookbooks, they always used to say sift everything. If you have a sifter, go right ahead. Personally, I've always found sifting to be overrated because if you're doing a recipe where there's a lot of mixing like this, the lumps just come out naturally. Crack the egg in a small bowl to make sure you don't get any eggshell, and if you do, you can easily pick it out of here and also smell if the egg is good. I'll just put that in there. And the sweetened condensed milk. Now, this is not substitutable. You cannot use a different type of ingredient. The cookies will not come out the same. And just toss all that in. Now get your spatula and mix that in until it's even. So once that's even, transfer it to a microwave safe bowl. And do not bother to clean the bowl. You're going to be using this again. Now, depending on what kind of microwave you have, I have a really old microwave that's not very powerful. And I can't give you absolute times. This is a visual recipe. I'll show you how to cook it. So if you got an old one like I do, put it in for 1-minute increments. Bring it out and stir it. If you've got like a brand new super powerful microwave, just do it in 30 seconds and kind of play it by ear. You'll see what I mean. So we're at 1 minute and you can see that there's some bubbles on the surface, but that's about it. So just kind of give it a stir through and pop it in again. Good thing it's a sunny morning. You can start to see how the edge is cooking. So it's going to cook from the edges. See, this is why you don't just throw it in for X number of minutes and hope it comes out, because it will not cook evenly throughout. Any of the cooked bits should get stirred back in. And once it looks pretty even again, put it in for 1 more minute. This is 3 minutes. And it looks nearly like a cake or brownies, which is what you're going for. You see the steam coming out, eh? So this is nearly done, but not quite. What you're going to do is just mash it down and make sure any wet bits are distributed throughout. I'm just going to go for another 30 seconds on this and check. I won't go the full minute because you don't want to overcook it because then they'll be tough, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it, I'd say, but let me just give a quick stir. Yes. So now, yeah, that's just good. It's hard to see because it's steaming so much. Kind of amazing, eh? 3.5 minutes in the microwave, and an old one at that. So like I said, if you've got a brand new fresh one, be really careful with the times on this. I'll just transfer it back to this bowl. Almond extract first. If you don't have this, you could skip it, but it just adds such a nice kind of Christmassy flavor to the cookies. And 1/4 teaspoon is quite enough. I did try half in one experiment and it was just way too strong. Okay, then your 2 tablespoons of butter, which I have cut out of a pound. Now what you're going to do is you're going to beat that in. And I do recommend getting cold butter for this because it beats in gradually instead of turning into like a greasy mess in the middle. Mission accomplished. Okay, so you can see I've got that all stirred in, and what I've also done is I've taken the time to spread it out around the sides of the bowl. The reason I'm doing this and evenly is you've got to have this cool completely before you can form it into balls. You could do it earlier, but what happens is instead of getting balls, they just kind of go flat because the mixture is just too hot to hold its shape. Okay, so this is cool enough to make now. This is a pretty easy construction. Just get a teaspoon or so. I use rubber gloves, it's a lot easier. And you can either roll it up right now or just drop it in the coconut. I like to get 3 or 4 going at once. It's quicker this way, and if you get a bit of coconut wrapped in the middle, well, it's not a big thing. So just roll it up between your hands. Now I found the easiest way to do this is pick up some coconut and kind of mash it between the palms of your hands, and if you're missing a piece you can kind of dab it in there and just set it on the sheet. So that worked out well. Bowl's empty. I've got 2 left to roll, and there's just enough coconut. Now obviously if you run out, just add some more from the bag, but my point at the beginning was whatever goes in here is not going back in the bag, so don't go too carried away or you'll lose a lot of coconut. Now if there's any, I got a bit left that are looking a bit sparse, you can give them a second roll if you want. So how many we got here? Yeah, we got 19. It'll make up, you know, 1.5 dozen, 2 dozen, depending on how large you make the balls. These are all done and plated. Now, one thing I should mention, these do not require refrigeration. You can if you want, but they taste really nice at room temperature. So I'm just going to grab one here and slice it down the middle so you can see. They have a really, really nice soft texture, nearly like a truffle. So it's kind of a mix between a cookie and a chocolate, which is very decadent and really good for the holidays, right? And they're so good. So, thank you for watching. I hope you make these. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you again.